So I'm here with Cara. Cara, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where you originally from? Colorado?
No, actually, I've lived in several different states as an adult. I think about 10 of them altogether. So it's really hard for me to answer that question, where are you from? I grew up in Southern California. I spent a lot of time in the South, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and then I ended up in Illinois for a job transfer, and then ended up in Ohio. Then my mother got ill and I ended up in Nevada, and then after she passed away I ended up in Colorado.
Do you have any family out here?
No.
No, just you?
No.
And you're currently an escort, correct?
Correct.
How did all that come about? How did you get into escorting?
Well, I've been in the same industry for over about 27 years collectively. I've only been escorting for 2 years now. Being undereducated and overqualified, I felt like every job was just like a lateral move, and I was frustrated with it, and I was frustrated with the whole American way, and frustrated with the offset of the cost of living versus the wages in the state of Colorado, and I just said, I met somebody, I know somebody who does this, and I observed her for a while. She didn't convince me to join in or anything like that. It wasn't like that at all. I just observed her, and I thought, she's got it made, Unbeknownst to me, it's not as easy as you would think, and there's a lot of crap that goes along with it. But here I am.
Can you elaborate on that a little more? What are you referring to when you say there's a lot more to it?
If I could have an appointment for every minute that I actually put into getting an appointment, if I could actually get like equal amount of appointments out of, it would be fabulous. It could be a dream job. But the fact of the matter is that 9 out of 10 of the people that contact me they're full of shit. They really have no intentions of ever making an appointment. They're either curious, or they're just too scared, or they're just kids and they're playing jokes. But it's a constant. I'm constantly on my phone. I'm constantly having to navigate through all the bullshit, and and to finally come up with one appointment that might actually show up. And I get stood up and I get ghosted all the time.
Yeah. How much money can you typically make in a day, a week, a month, whatever?
The most I've ever made is about $2,000 in a day.
Wow.
But that's very not typical.
Yeah.
Typically, if I can make $500 in a day, I'm happy.
Yeah.
My hotel cost over the last month was about $4,000. So it's not like, people will hear that number and think, oh, wow, she's really raking it in. And I'm not, because if you think about my hotel costs, then when you're traveling, you always spend more money on meals, and then there's the wear and tear on your car and the mileage. And at the end of the day, for the much work as I put into it, it's better than, a $25 an hour job, of course, but it's not all that glamorous, and it's not all that fun, and occasionally you meet somebody really great, but it's not all that often that happens. But it is great for your self-esteem in the beginning. It's really great for your self-esteem because, when I entered into this, I had been in a marriage that really broke me down, and I hadn't even had a date in 7 years. I had not had a kiss in 7 years, and I went from nothing to this, which was quite a big transition, but
nothing to everything.
Yeah, and people were like complimenting me all the time, and it was okay that I'm heavy set, and where that's never been acceptable in my world, not from the generation I'm from. The skinnier, the better,
Sure.
And so it really, it gave me like the boost of confidence that I needed, and that part of it is worth probably every misery part of it. It really is, because you can't buy self-confidence. Well, maybe you can, but I needed that lift. I really needed it, but now it's flipped. So it's flipped over, and now I feel like my only self-worth is sexual, and so that makes me feel self-conscious and insecure about my intellect, about my personality, about being a kind of person you just want to spend time with just because you like that person.
Yeah.
I feel like that people only want to spend time with me for one thing and one thing only now, and so that's just like it's like a catch-22.
Do you miss that? Do you miss like genuine love and affection?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
attention? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm making my escape, actually, as we speak. I finally accepted a job, a regular job, making less than $25 an hour, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So now I'm kind of in a transitional period where it's going to take me a while to get adjusted to that income. Firstly, I can't even live alone on that income. I mean, not here, not in Denver. So that's been really hard. So since I've lived here, I've had to have a roommate. You know, so many roommates. It's ridiculous. I've had like 6 roommates since I've been here in 5 years. And I just don't want that anymore. I want to have my own place. But without a proof of income, you can't get your own place.
Sure.
Can't buy anything, can't do anything, you know. So that's why I'm now doing 2 jobs.
Is there a typical, I guess, type of man that tends to see you the most? Is it older? Is it married?
Married. I would say 85% of my clients are married.
Yeah.
And they're happily married. They're just not getting sex. And if I could pass a message to many women around the world, it would be, it only takes 15 minutes to give your man a little pleasure. Give it to him, and then you'll be done with it, and he'll leave you alone for at least a week, you know. But I hear so many stories of men will come in, they love their wives, they love them dearly. They have no intentions of leaving. They know they don't pay me to do what I do, they pay me to go away. And so that's what I do, you know, and they're happy, and I feel like that prevents them from taking it a step further and maybe getting in a real relationship.
Yeah.
That would rock the relationship, would rock their marriage completely, you know.
Have you had any horror stories with people coming to see you?
I only had a couple. I had one, I would say, I guess, an altercation, a situation, should I say, where he became almost borderline violent. Just kind of
over what?
Just when he was done, he just wanted to treat me as much like a prostitute as he possibly could. So he pushed me off the bed, and you know, and I fell against the nightstand, and then he just like looked down on me, and he was just like, "I'm leaving now," or whatever. I don't remember exactly how he worded it, but and that shook me up. At the time, it really shook me up. But it was the first time that something like that had happened. And the only other time I had anything happen was I've been, you know, robbed a couple times. So, but
By gunpoint?
No, not by gunpoint. But although I do have a couple clients that do come in with guns, you know, they tell you that immediately, right when they walk in the door. They say, "I just want you to know I am carrying a gun. You know, it's just something I do," or whatever. But no, I was robbed just like swindled almost, you know, where they said they gave me the money. One guy gave me the money, and then when I wasn't looking, because I set it down on the counter, and it was a client I'd already seen before, I felt comfortable with him, very comfortable with him, and then when I wasn't looking, he snatched it and left, and then of course I never heard from him again. And then I've had a couple who purposely, like, I forgot to ask for the money up front, and then they realized that they could possibly get away with it, and then they took advantage of it, and when I went to go grab something or, you know, wash up or whatever, they took off, you know, real quickly without paying me, and then you don't hear from them again. So.
Do you get nervous when somebody calls you and say, "Hey, I'll be there at X amount of time," and like, do you get nervous, like, who's going to walk through my door, or what am I?
I'm nervous every single time,
yeah.
For every single appointment except for somebody I've seen multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm nervous that they're the police.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get busted. I'm nervous that they're here to rob me. I'm nervous that I have had a stalker type of situation. I don't know if it's a stalker or harasser, but I've had somebody who was purposely setting up appointments under different names. Could you call me from different phone numbers, setting up appointments and then never showing up? So it's more of a harassment type of thing.
Have you had anybody's wives call you?
Anybody what?
Anybody's wives?
No, I mean,
Or anybody's wife?
What's that?
Anybody's wife?
Yeah, I have had one wife call me, but that's not really, I mean, that's not really been a big issue. I had one wife call me, her husband died, but I had a mother call me for a young client that I had. And so normally I don't see anybody under the age of 30, because it's just, I don't want to see anybody younger than my children. that makes me feel really weird. So, but I did have a mother call of a client I saw who was under 30, who talked me into it because he was very mature and sounded very responsible. And a big reason I also don't see them under 30 is because they're so irresponsible. They just don't show up. They don't call. It's just like, it's a numbers game. If they tell me they're under 30, I can already know they're not going to make their appointment. Sometimes I'll just say, yeah, sure, come at 8 o'clock, knowing they're not going to come, and I'm still booking at 8 o'clock, you know. I'm like at the airlines, I overbook.
Have you ever had two people show up here at the same time?
Never.
No.
And I've been very lucky, but it's been close. But no, that's never happened.
What's your biggest fear about doing this?
Getting arrested.
Yeah.
100%.
Have you ever been arrested?
Or my family finding out would be horrible too.
Sure.
Or my job finding out. You know, I just finally got a job. It took me a year to find a job. If they found out, that would be horrible.
How old are your children?
I'm 56 years old.
And your children are how old?
Oh, my children? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. My daughter is 31 and my son is 26.
Are they local?
No. They were raised in Florida, and that's where they still live in Florida.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is your relationship with them pretty good, or?
Yeah, I mean, my daughter and I have a few, issues to iron out. She's like a typical young person where she feels like everything bad that's ever happened to her is because of her parents. But nothing good that's happened to her is because of her parents, which it took me a really long time to understand that concept. If you're going to blame your parents for all the bad stuff, then you've got to give them credit for the good stuff.
Yeah.
It's not fair. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
It's like whenever somebody pays me a compliment, I always say, blame my parents.
Yeah.
It's my thing.
What do you feel is the biggest lesson you've learned in life?
Well, I think that after my mother passed away, I learned that a lot of things just really don't matter, and all the time and energy we put into so many different things, it doesn't change the world. It doesn't change the outcome. If I could just be more focused on today, and I wish I was, I really struggle with that. But if I could just be more focused in the moment, I'm sure that I could find more happiness. But instead, I'm always back here in the past or up there in the future, which creates nothing but, regret and worry.
What does happiness look like to you?
What's what?
What does happiness look like to you?
Yeah, and that's a hard question to answer because I've also lost my mojo. I don't feel like I don't dream. I don't have any dreams anymore. I don't really sit there and go, oh God, it would be so nice if I could be here, or this could be this way, or if I could meet this person, or I don't even dare to fantasize anymore. I don't dare to dream.
Why is it?
I don't know. I've just lost it. I think somewhere, somehow, down the line, after so many disappointments in life, you just start to, you become tainted.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're jaded?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm 100% jaded. Yeah.
Do you think that you can find that old person, that old you, and kind of reach down inside and kind of get back to the joys in life that you miss?
I would like to find that old feeling. I don't want to find that old person because that person has led me to where I am now.
Sure.
So I would never want to go back and relive my life again under any circumstances. But I would love to be able to learn from it now and take those life experiences that I have had and make something good out of them. That would be great.
If you could take things back, what would you have done differently?
Let's see, probably never drank alcohol. So I started drinking at a very young age. And I think alcohol is just the gateway to many different bad things in your life.
Sure. Do you still drink?
No, I do not.
How long did the alcohol last for? How long did you drink for? How many years?
I started at 14. So, I don't know, 35 years. Right around there.
Do you feel like life is lonely?
It's very lonely.
Yeah.
And that's a very serious health condition too.
Yeah.
Loneliness if anybody researches it, I didn't realize that. Loneliness leads to a lot of physical and physical problems too. Yeah.
I guess in a perfect world, What do you think can make it better?
In a perfect world, I could survive on a regular job and not always be worried about money. I could meet a guy with a great sense of humor who I can be comfortable around, who's comfortable around me, and there has to be an attraction. I firmly believe in a physical attraction. Because I also firmly believe in a good sex life, and I don't want to be in a relationship that I don't have a good sex life. My grandparents had sex until their mid-70s, and I hope to do the same thing. Yeah. Sex is important. It's an important connection. Yeah. So, just not having fear, not living in fear. Not living in fear of being caught doing something you shouldn't be doing. And I've lived in that fear almost my whole life. Either my parents are going to catch me, my kids are going to catch me, or the law's going to catch me. That's a horrible place to be.
Yeah. That's probably stressful in and of itself.
It is. And not having financial fear, and being appreciated. I'm very disrespected in this industry, and I know that most people who approach a girl like me, they don't really feel that our time is valuable, our opinion means anything. We have nothing to offer. We're just like scum. We're trash, And I think that that's quite the opposite. I think that many girls that are in this industry have a lot to offer and a lot to say and they should be heard. And what they have to say should be really listened to, because I think that there's a lot of wisdom in this industry.
Sure.
Much different than education, wisdom.
Yeah. If you could, if anybody sees this who may be kind of following in your footsteps, or especially the younger generation, teenagers, young adults, etc., if you could leave them with a message, what would that be?
Move somewhere where it's legal. Really, if you really like it, move to a country it's legal, because you don't want to live in fear. And unless you're really, really passionate about it, and you want to lead some kind of march on and say, we deserve it, we have rights under that. But if you're just doing it to survive, there's so many other ways to survive. And once you get into this industry, money will be totally different to you. I have no concept on how to budget. I spend money. I make more money now than I ever have in my life, probably, and I have less now than I've ever had in my life.
Are drugs a huge issue in this industry?
It's a very big issue in this industry. A lot of the girls now do what they call the blues, which is basically like fentanyl pills, but they smoke them. I don't socialize with anybody in this industry. These are just things I've heard from clients. But when I hear they smell horrible, they make them all like zombies or whatever. But it's becoming a huge epidemic in this country, and people are dying, and then now they give them that spray that brings them back to life. I can't remember what it's called.
Narcan?
Yeah, and they could just get that. They could carry it around their pocket. So we're saying it's okay for you to continue to be a drug addict, Don't seek help. We got you right here in a little bottle. It's crazy.
What do you feel like the biggest lesson you've learned in life is?
I hope I haven't learned my biggest lesson in life yet. I hope there's much more to learn. Time is, and I'm sure 10,000 million people have said this, but time is short. Time is of the essence, and every day when a little bit of time gets away from me where I feel like I haven't done something constructive or something that's, I don't even watch television because I feel like it's a total waste of time, and I have such little time, and every day that goes on and there's more road behind me than there is in front of me, I value time even more and more, and I feel like in another 10 years, I don't know, time is just going to be going so fast, it's going to make my head spin.
If you were to kind of, unravel all the outer layers of yourself and look at your inner core, who exactly is Cara?
I think, I know I'm an empath. I like to help people. But unfortunately, with doing that comes getting screwed over by people. And finally, about 10 years ago, I got screwed over for the last time in a bad way. And so that just made me bitter and put up a wall, But the original me is always willing to help, always going above and beyond, always looking for a solution to a problem. If somebody would come up to me and say, "Oh, but this has been wrong in my life, and that's wrong in my life because of this, that," and I would say, "But we can, we can get you out of this, and we can find a way, and it can be okay." And because I just never would give up hope, you know. And I mean, I haven't given up hope yet on myself, but I don't have the passion that I used to have. I can't give myself a good pep talk anymore.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Well, I definitely appreciate you taking the time, kind of
You're
sharing your
welcome.
story.
Thank you.
Definitely appreciate it.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Cara.